kind of just had a problem with that. So all these people that have no idea about what's going on. I have a group of people that have been attacking me for quite some time now. In that group includes my ex-girlfriend, where she had relationships with other guys while being in a relationship.
What happened?
And she ended up going and living with and marrying that guy that she was seeing for the 5 to 6 years prior to the separation, well, to the ending of the relationship. Hey, French fries. So Scammy Claus managed to get a hold of her, Dan Bobby and Scammy Claus. Of course, they're gonna go real life with whatever. Then they talked to my sister. Apparently, I listened to that for a little bit. And instantly started, I can poke holes in every single one of those things that they talked about. And one of the things was, there's a few people in here anyway, so it says, I actually wrote it down too, so I can touch back on that. There's just a lot of stuff going on. So I actually cut my sister out of my life. She didn't cut me out of her life. Like, I cut her out of my life. I got tired of the bullshit that she was doing. I cut her out of my life. I don't like that drama. She is about that drama. Hence the reason why she went in with Scammy Claus's little stream there. She fits right in with that group. Let's see. When we were little, my sister had actually admitted that she actually bit herself to try to get me into trouble. But what she didn't tell you guys is our aunt is the one that stopped me from getting my ass beat. Because my sister had bit herself, ran into the house. Well, it was a trailer. Actually, it was a trailer. And my matante comes out and says, "No, Sean, you stay out there." And my sister got in a lot of trouble, and she got a beating for trying to blame me for a bite that I never did. I had my sister's talking about that I wouldn't pick up a fucking salamander. Let me tell you a little story, okay? I have no issues with salamanders at all. I actually think they're pretty cool. I like how they stick to your hand. I've always had a thing about salamanders and geckos and, you know, stuff like that. I've always liked them. And tree frogs. I'm not much into bullfrogs, but tree frogs, I think they look pretty cool. And I used to chase them around the fucking water all the time. Let's see. As a matter of fact, my aunt actually brought that story up while I was talking to my mom on FaceTime, and she was over with my mother sitting on her bed, and says, "I gotta tell you this, when you was little, your sister did," and my sister got in trouble for getting caught. My aunt caught a lot of stuff that my sister was doing, and pointed it out. So I was okay. So to touch on the subject about the girl next door. Okay, so where we were living, we had 3 apartment buildings. There was apartment on top, on the bottom, top and bottom, 6 units, and 3 different buildings. We lived at building in the first building, on the first floor, and we used the back door to get in. And I wasn't allowed to leave that property. I wasn't allowed to do anything. So to give you an idea, I'm going to just use this. I've had this page for a while. Okay, so this is how the buildings were set up.
My hubby is ejaculating so quickly, and then he gets so anxious about it. Sex life is starting to feel like a chore.
And they said, you know, just this is to kind of give you guys an idea. See, I was young, and I wasn't allowed to leave a certain area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put dots where I was not allowed, where I was the limit of where I was allowed to go.
He's getting started today.
And then this was our little garbage house. Garbage. Okay, so this is no just but trash. Trash. Okay. So, this is what it looks like, okay? We lived in this building here. And we were on the first floor here. My window was actually on the back side, about the middle here. And then there was a chain link fence going down along the edge of the side of the building here. So, I wasn't allowed to leave this area. If I left that area, I would get my ass beat. This is where my mom could see me from the kitchen door right here. She could see right out and see me no matter where she looked. She'd be able to see me within this boundary. And that was my boundaries. I was not allowed to go outside that boundaries. The girl that my sister's talking about actually lived way the fuck over here. And I wasn't even allowed to leave this area. I wasn't even allowed to go down the driveway. She lived over here, and my sister was always over there. She was older than me. So she was allowed to go and do things that I wasn't allowed to do. Like, go hang out with her friends from school. So, you know, I find it strange that my sister's saying that I did something to a kid when I was a kid. Well, I didn't do anything at all. And she was older than me, so why are they getting on my case for something like that? It doesn't make sense to me. My sister and I were making a cake, and I got to help mix the cake. My sister took the cake out the oven and put a thermometer inside that cake. I noticed that nobody actually fucking said something about that in that whole thing, seeing I've said it so many fucking times. And if they don't believe that happened, then they can talk to my mother, and they can, you know, talk to my aunt. If they really want to get down and dirty about it, they might as well just talk to my aunt, because my aunt will absolutely 100% close out half of what my sister said. I'm closing out half of what my sister said as we're talking right now. So that was just to clear that. That was just to clear that part up. Next on the list of things that that kind of bothered me about what was being said. I was at a group home, and I got brought over to my mame's house, my grandmother's house, for those who don't know what a mame is. And my mame said, "How was your life in these foster homes?" And then the phone rang, and it was my sister and my mom on the other line. I know it was because I got to talk to them. My mame let me talk to them, and I had the phone. I had the phone in my hand, talking about. I had talked to my mom and my sister for a little bit. Gave the phone back to my mame, and my mame had asked me again. So how was it in the foster care? And I'm like, I was in a foster home where they duct taped me to a chair, duct taped my mouth, and put me in the closet. Of course, my sister is going to say something different, but that's okay. And we are absolute polar opposites. I really don't give a fuck what people are trying to say about me. I know that it's bullshit, and that's all that fucking matters. My sister wasn't around my whole life. In Holton, when I got a hold of them, it was actually the police department that got a hold of the house, so my sister picked up the phone and asked if I could go there. My sister said yes, my mother said yes, and the officer brought me to the house in Holton. And then for some weird fucking reason, I got told that I had stabbed my mother in the leg, which I never did. So, you know, the police department came over and picked me up the following morning because they felt threatened. According to my sister, they felt threatened and made up an excuse to get me out of the house, which is kind of fucked up, because all they had to do is say, you need to leave, and I would have got up, and I probably would have been bawling my eyes out, and I would have left. I wouldn't have stuck around. I would have just got up and I would have left. I wouldn't have stayed there. I would have went somewhere else. So that's another thing that they obviously didn't pay attention to. Diana and I were never close. My sister says we were really close. We were never close. We had, you know, she was talking about a hot dog, and it was all dried out and cut in half, and we had to share something. I don't remember that. I don't remember half a hot dog. I do remember, poor man's breakfast. I do remember having, food that my mama would make, and we would go and eat there at my uncle's house. So we ate. It wasn't just fucking hot dogs and fucking soups or whatever. However, there was a time where it was lunchtime, and my sister and I were meant to share a chicken and stars soup. Diana liked one part of it, and I liked the other part of it. And Diana liked the juice, and she would drink the juice. She didn't like the noodle, and she didn't like the chicken. She would sit there and drink the juice, and drink the juice, and keep drinking it. Well, and then go to hand it to me and pull it away and eat some more. Pull it away, hand it to me, pull it away, and eat some more of it. There ended up being maybe 1 or 2 swallows left in the bottom of that soup out of the whole can that I got to have. My sister was teasing me with it so much, I actually grabbed a hold of the can and ripped it out of her hand because I was fucking hungry, and I was being taunted by my sister, and I drank it down. 2 swallows and it was gone, and I was just a little kid. My sister's finger, her pinky got cut open pretty bad. She had to go in and have stitches done, and then said that I did it on purpose. Well, she didn't tell my mom the part where she was teasing me with food. So that's what we'll just touch on that as well. I just wanted to make sure that was out there. Let's see. My sister said that I got a hold of somebody